three things. One, you said no noise affects spirituality from here, center forehead. And then the sound from your spine was
Kef?
cat.
The Kef.
Okay. All right.
So,
And
we hope.
and then, well, I'll just do two. Then, when you got to the bowls, the crystal affects the inner body, and you said the brass affects the
Muscles.
muscles.
More so. The sounds that the brass, the Tibetan bowls make, affects and relaxes the tension and stress in the muscles.
Okay. I think that's okay. If I find the other one, I'll let you know. Super.
But the makeup of the bowls, that's crystals, and it's that same makeup as in human
We
life.
have crystals, yeah, we have crystals within us, yeah. Crystals are part of, you've seen crystals, I mean, crystal rocks, so salt, salt is a crystalline structure, sugar is a crystalline structure, so we have crystalline structures within us.
So, now, by practicing sound or paying attention to these sounds, I'm supposed to, be brought down to a more calm?
Not
Is
necessarily.
that,
Well,
When I go to the beach,
you
but-
calm yourself and breathe to experience it,
Mhm.
but what this is doing is penetrating you and stimulating your cells to be in a better condition. It's going inside. And so that it's a healing thing, as well as, you may feel more calm and more peaceful, but it's actually generating healing in the cellular level.
so like the sound of the waves coming in, I go to the beach and sit on the shore and listen to the waves coming in. What's happening to me from that
Because
sound?
that's the same sound that your blood is making in your body, just on a larger scale. That in and out, when the blood flows out, and then comes back to the heart, that's the same motion as the waves, it's the same. So that when you hear, they say, oh, put the shell to your ear, you're basically hearing your own blood surge through your, things.
And when I sit down, be in a quiet place and listen to my boom, boom, boom,
Your
my
heart.
heartbeat, that's that one. And listen to my heartbeat. What am I supposed to recognize in that?
Well, it depends on what condition your heart is in.
Well, it's in a normal condition.
But, your heartbeat is the heartbeat of the universe. That's what drums are about. That's what native drums are about, right? Is tying into the rhythm of the universe. So when you think about it, and I wrote about this in my book, it's my own problem, remember, that we say, so the child's heartbeat is generated by the rhythm of the heartbeat of the mother. So the mother's heartbeat is started by, the rhythm of the heartbeat of her mother. You take that back. So from where did the original heartbeat come? When Allah created Adam, He gave Adam and Hawa heartbeats. This came from Allah Ta'ala. So when your heart is in the proper condition, then you are tuned into a rhythm that is divine. It's not that easy, I don't think, to get our hearts in that condition, but to keep our hearts in that condition. I think our hearts go in and out of that very stable and primordial rhythm. We can get there, but keeping our hearts there is the difficult.
I have a question. I know we speak about therapeutic. I'm a walk in the gardens. There was one day, it was a little windy. I actually heard the leaves hitting the ground. And you're talking about being in tune. It just took me to a whole different level.
Right.
Of serenity.
Right.
And I was like, one day I could say it was Alhamdulillah. It was so easy. And I just wish everybody could be out here doing this.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that. And
That is true. And it's called mindful walking, actually. There's a term for it.
Yeah.
That where you walk and you're experiencing all that is happening in nature around you. Because you are just being conscious. Did you see that?
Yes, you mentioned the Islamic tradition is called al-Waqifiyya.
The centers are called al-Latifiyya, yeah, Latifiyya,
Okay.
meaning the subtle places. So the thing about al-Latif, the name al-Latif, of the name of Allah, which is al-Latif is one of the Asma al-Husna. Al-Latif means the one who is subtle, imperceptible, but yet so powerful, right? So that is the thing about our energy centers. We don't even realize they're there. I mean, how many years you live and you're like, what? I got what? You know, so they're very subtle, they're very powerful, and they need to be open, active, and connected. And that's the thing about them also. So, you know, when I studied holistic healing, we studied this healing of these things, and you learn to sense them and sense their spin, you know, like, because they're the motion. So there is should be a healthy clockwise motion in each one of them, but then there's elliptical movement because of their interchange, how they're exchanging energy with each other. So it's something, yeah, when you learn to sense it, but I mean, you know, I never knew about it before. Never thought about it.
Well, is there like a Islamic science kind of thing, or if someone wants to learn more about that, they need to learn about chakras and the other systems?
Yeah, I don't know of anything that's been written Islamically, but so even I learned that name from a Sufi sheikh, you know what I mean? A lot of things you don't hear like the average person talking about it because they try to stay away from certain things because it's almost like they think they're getting into a field that might lead them to shirk or something, you know? But this sheikh, it was from Palestine, you know, very spiritual and understood things. And he was very much into natural healing. And so, you know, he was aware of them. And so knowledge, see, this is what's, knowledge is the property of the Muslim. All good knowledge is our property. So when we find it, we have the right to take it. Doesn't mean we got to go into, you know, let's see, what are the names of the Hindu gods, or what's that word that they're using over there. We don't have, we just take the good, because this belongs to me, you know. It's like when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam found the Jews, Bani Israel, I'm trying to get away from calling these people Jews, found Bani Israel in Medina fasting, and it was on, you know, I think it was the Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. And it's like he said, you know, why are you fasting? He said, well, this is the commemoration when Musa took us, you know, out of bondage. And he said, well, Musa's my brother. I have more right to that than you do, you know. So it's like, I'm taking it, you know. So now he's like, our people need to start doing this, but so we don't not just like them, let's fast the day before and the day of, or day of and day after. We want to do it a little different. But when we find something, it belongs to us, of good. When we find something of good, it's ours, and we should take it. And take the benefits of it, and then leave the rest, the corruption, because you know, there's much that has been corrupted, that started out as pure knowledge, that started out as beneficial knowledge, and it's gotten corrupted. So, but we find and take the good and leave the rest.
So I was going to say, I'm glad you said that, because I was sitting here thinking my husband's grandmother, and they said that she could take the fire out of a burn. By the words that she said, you know, and it's like people put you in a position to say, you know, that's spooky, that's this, that's the other, and we've lost so much of what it is that we could
That's
have.
healing.
And it's the healing properties, and I know his uncle, he says uncle could go out and get all kinds of leaves for curing, you know, that sort of thing. So this is very interesting, and it's just like you gave me, I'll say just me, permission to open up to something more. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now these chakras, total 12?
No, the major ones are 7, but there are minor ones. So the seven major ones is where your nerves, they're called plexi. They intersect 21 times in those major ones. And then you have minor ones where they may intersect 14 or 7 or something, but usually a multiple of 7. So the 7 major ones is where your nerves come and intersect 21 different times and create this center of high energy.
I was reviewing this, reading something on the chakras as well, and that the Buddhist monks,
Mhm.
when they are chanting or doing their meditation, they have this sound.
Mhm.
And it's supposed to be so effective for them as well as art. Are you familiar with
Well, the is a universal sound that comes from the hamd. But see, they only got a part of
that?
it.
Yeah.
It's alhamdulillah.
Mm.
That's what's permeating the universe, and that's what people can tune into, and we should. But see, they've got a part of it. And I don't think that they really truly understand it. I don't know, because I haven't talked to the monks. But I don't think they really understand. But they're onto something. It's incomplete, I'll put it that way.
Well, yeah, whatever it is, it helps them a lot. Their energy is pretty strong, and I was reading that they can use their energy to defend themselves. They don't even have to touch. They can be at least 6 feet away
Yeah.
to use their energy to
Yeah.
ward off their enemy if they need to. So,
We
But
are quite
reason
powerful.
the reason I mentioned about the seven chakras, I also found that they related to the astrological.
Well, the seven, seven is, look, you've got seven heavens, seven samawat, the 7 heavens, 7 ayat of the Fatiha, 7 days of the week. 7 is something that is, you're going to find the 7 repeating all through different levels, physical and spiritual, right? So, 7 sacraments in different, Catholic and maybe some other traditions. So that 7 is going to, and we too have evolved in layers of 7, because that's just a sunnah of Allah. So the 7, and I've said this in my class, 7 represents structural completion. So that, and in the Catholic Church, as you evolve and become more mature, right, you go through those 7 sacraments, right, from the first communion to your confirmation to your whatever up until you get. So I don't remember them all now. But
Me neither. I was sitting here at 12 years of Catholic school, and I was like,
No, you didn't.
what were they? Yeah, 12 years.
yeah, well, but 7 is a structural completion, and it doesn't mean 7 could be 70, 700, 7,000, 7 whatever. But it's 7 and multiples of 7 that represent structural completion. We don't know how many heavens are above us. I mean, could be 7 million. We don't know. But it's something related to 7. So the 7 is a spiritual number. It's a spiritual number.
Yes.
Allah uses it in the Quran, and we have it in different, forms in our society. You can't get away from it because you got 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah, but there used to be calendars with less than 7 days, some with more than 7 days a week. So in Egyptian, they had calendars that were not actually 7 days a week. So we can't get rid of it in this society, but we can't get rid of it if we establish our own society.
Well,
We may not do
it's
that.
not meant, so, the 7, as I said, is structural completion, so that cycle is complete with the 7, so you won't be messing with stuff. And that's, that's something that Allah does speak about in the Quran, them changing the months, because He says the months were 12 from the time that He created the universe. So you got a calendar with more than 12 months or less than 12 months, that's a corruption. So we have to be careful not to just say, well, we could do this, we could do that. No, you could, but it would be a deviation of divine structure. So let's, just try to stay with what seems to be proper.
I just have a comment. When you were doing the first one,
Mhm.
and you said it means lead.
The sound is lead.
Lead, and
Mhm.
you said it was negative.
Mhm.
And then as it vibrated, it made the same sound that the microphone makes, that makes you go crazy. And I was just saying, oh, well, that's negative. You don't want that. The microphone is making that noise. It annoys everyone. And the only other comment I had is, we didn't at all talk about the brain and because we were saying it's healing, even for mental health and these kinds of things, and I was just trying to understand.
Do you know, so, there is a letter, the mean vibrates in the brain, but in Chinese medicine, they don't talk about the brain. They call the brain a curious organ. They talk about the heart. The heart is the emperor. The heart is the leader. And Allah Ta'ala focuses on the heart in the Quran. He doesn't talk about the brain. And what you learn as you study, and if you, those of you who have read the book, you understand that the heart is supposed to be the programmer of the brain. So the brain it receives and restructures, and then it sends stuff to the physical body, but the brain is not supposed to be in charge, not intended.
Well, if we remember that the Quran was revealed in the heart, that may help as well, as opposed to, this couldn't take it, the mountains couldn't even hold it, so this could, and it's a weighty message. That's it.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan, may Allah reward you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Whoa.
Thank you.
That's it? With the books? You got some books?
We was here at one.
Yeah, so much more. That's